Sinners, which just came out last Friday. And we both got to catch it on opening weekend. What's the story, sir? Without spoiling, I guess.
Yeah, sure, without spoiling.
I'll tell you one thing. I had the movie spoiled for me because I saw an image that was circling Twitter or whatever you want to call it these days. And that kind of gave a big indication as to what I mean, you've seen the movie. You know what the movie's about. Yeah. The main thing about the movie was spoiled for me. So I went in kind of slightly already knowing what was going to happen. So I think the reveal was less impactful for me. But how about yourself? You going into the movie, did you know anything about it?
Okay, well, I'm not sure if you're talking about the thing I already knew or just the general.
It probably could have been, yeah.
Well, should we say there's the potential spoiler for the next 8 seconds?
Okay.
Do you mean that there are vampires in it?
Yes, and also more.
Okay. All right. Okay. So a lot of
spoiler alert.
A lot of reviewers.
It's a vampire movie.
Yeah. A lot of reviewers are saying it's what if Dusk Till Dawn was good.
Yeah.
It's a chatting pitch, the only podcast.
Was From Dusk Till Dawn not good?
It's the only podcast.
Was it not good? Because I don't really remember
Dusk Till Dawn, I thought it was pretty good.
It's a cult classic, isn't it?
It's a bit of a cult classic. So is it Robert Rodriguez directing and Tarantino writing? He's also in it very distractingly as George Clooney's brother. Yeah. That film, what it does great is the reveal. It starts off, the first section, I don't want to say the first half, but the first section of the film is these two brothers, criminals, trying to get away from the law. So you think, okay, this is going to be like a typical Tarantino-esque, kind of funny, kind of glib, maybe a bit of a road movie. And then halfway through, bang, vampires show up.
Yeah.
And it's a really good tonal shift. It's handled really, really well. But I would say it doesn't quite nail that second half. Whereas I would say Sinners really does. So it starts off, it's set Sinners. We're going to move on to Sinners now. It's set in the Great Depression. There's a young guy, Sammy, who takes a guitar and he tells his dad, who's a priest, I'm going to go play some blues at a new club that's opening that Sammy's cousins are opening. But his cousins are the notorious Smoke and Stack. They're twins, both played by Michael B. Jordan, which surprised me. That was the bit that I didn't know. I went in and my wife said, isn't it amazing how he's playing two characters? And I'd watched the trailer and I remember, like, big sucker that I am, I remember sitting there going, I've got to find out he plays Michael B. Jordan's brother.
It looks just like him.
I thought like they look pretty similar, but the performance that he gives is really great because it's not sometimes when you have the same actor playing two different people, they play them as polar opposites, and one might be super hammy and the other one will be super understated. Whereas this one, you have just enough difference where you go, actually, they are twin brothers because they are really, really similar in ways, but there are certain key things about their personality. One is more personable than the other. One is more sort of, I guess, simplistic in the way that, there's a bit halfway through the film. This isn't really a spoiler, where they have to make a business decision. And one of them is about, like, I'm just here to make money. And the other one is like, well, we're here to also show people a good time and give back to the community. So these twins have come back. They've been working in Chicago, but they return back to their home in Mississippi to open this club. Sammy's father, played by Saul Williams, warns him that, like, if you keep dancing with the devil, eventually he's going to follow you home.
Yeah.
Cue mysterious Remick, played by the always excellent Jack O'Connell, who shows up and he starts off playing a bit of a victim, but then slowly things are revealed that he's actually a bit more nefarious.
I think it's pretty if you already knew the premise of the movie, it being a vampire movie, as soon as he appears, he's steaming and his whole skin, he's all burnt up, and you kind of think, okay, maybe he's one of them. But I think it's safe to say we can do a little bit of spoilers because we've already said it's a vampire movie.
I mean, what I really like about that sequence is that his character Remick is literally dropped into the frame as well.
Yeah,
he doesn't just run past the camera. He
was literally like from the top of the frame.
Like he leaps over it. Yeah, over it and drops into frame. A nice little touch. I'd say his performance is really great because he's just charismatic enough, just skeezy enough, just horrible enough where he's not just a cookie cutter villain.
Yeah.
Which I think really helps. I think if you had just cookie cutter vampires.
He did a really good Mississippi accent though, didn't he? I mean,
yes.
Knowing what I know about him, and he has roots from, what was he, in Skins, Channel 4?
Yeah, I think that was his big break, Skins.
Yeah. He played a character called Cook or something like that. I think that was his name. But yeah, he's very much a little British lad. And he's wormed his way into Hollywood, and now he's playing vampires.
Wormed his way.
I don't know if wormed is the right word. He vamped his way in. There you go. But yeah, that moment of the movie is where things take a turn. Even though some bits were foreshadowed at the beginning. I mean, we had a little prologue with a little bit of animation where they're saying music is also tied into the supernatural. And that also plays a big part of the movie, the music side. You know,
soundtrack.
It's almost like people are saying it's almost like a main character of the movie, where the music drives the movie forward, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, there's that whole sequence where I think it's one shot. I don't remember if there was a cut.
Yeah.
We love a oneer, don't we, Leslie? It's the year of oneers.
Let's just reiterate, spoiler alert, okay? Because this scene was probably my favorite part of the movie because
this is the bit where as I was watching it, I thought people are either going to love this or hate this. You're going to lose some people. I had to do
a double take. I'm like, hang on a second, is that Earth, Wind and Fire? Is it?
So Sammy,
wait a second.
Sammy starts playing the guitar and singing, and it's told to us, the audience, that he has this power in his music where he can not just recall ancestors from the past, but he can also open like a vision into the future. So you have this fantastic sequence where you have people from, I don't want to say people from Sammy's past, it's like ancestors way back, and they're all playing different types of music on different instruments, and then you get people from the future. So all of a sudden this guy in like with the shoulder pad things, what I mean? Like futuristic get up, like stands next to him playing an electric guitar. And
it reminds me of, I don't know, there must be a band that's very similar to that, but the only thing that I can think of is like Kool and the Gang or Earth, Wind and Fire, where they had like the big get up and the like, I don't know if he was wearing star sunglasses or something like that, or something similar to that, but it was very, very like He-Man-esque type get up, and that was very popular back in the 70s.
Just this massive sequence, and then the way that it then cuts to Jack O'Connell's character seeing all this as well. He's experiencing that vision as well, and he sees it as a way to maybe reconnect with his ancestors, because he's I don't want to say any more than that because that'd be spoilers, but it's definitely, it reminded me of actually Into the Spider-Verse, you know, the sequence where you're introduced to Spider-Man Noir and the robot Spidey and the Spider-Ham.
Okay.
And I remember, I think it was maybe on the DVD commentary where they're talking about that sequence they had to get right because they knew that they could lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because the film just sort of explodes from there.
Yeah.
And I'd say in a similar sort of way, this sort of sequence, people are either going to love it or go, I'm not sure about that.
Did you take away from it that it was a metaphor, that whole sequence, or did you think literally this is happening? Like suddenly they've got people from different timelines.
The place, yeah. Welcome to the Sinner's Multiverse.
I mean, it's more of like the
blues will return.
It's like a vision, isn't it? he's projecting what's going to happen into the future and also the past. And then you also see like the whole building starts falling apart, but then moments later it's just back together again.
But the people inside don't care. The people inside listening to music are just that is the film showing us how they feel.
How influential that like this music can be for the future.
It's only the main vampire character Remick that really sees it as such. But all of them, I got the impression that they all had access to that power and they were all feeling that power and enjoying it. And
whether or not they saw it physically or not, but like it was more of like the emotion that the music was bringing to everybody. I thought that was quite neat. But yeah, after that, that's where everything starts hitting the fan, so to speak. Yeah, that's when the vamps come in.
Yeah, the vamps show up, and that's a neat. Yeah. We just want to come inside.
There was a lot of.
We heard you got some of that red Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So there's a moment where
I just want to fight to eat. Oh, we should probably let that guy in. He doesn't seem.
He seems okay to me.
Yeah.
But no, there's okay. So one of the spoilers that I was given to me through Twitter was specifically to do with one of the characters, and I don't know even if this was in the trailer or not. But the trailer that I saw didn't have this moment.
Okay.
Do we want to talk?
Spoiler? Do we want to?
It probably could be. Let's do a rating system, I guess.
Okay.
Well, what did you think of the movie as a whole?
I thought there was tons to unpack, and I think that it is of a high enough quality that you could definitely enjoy doing maybe 3 or 4 rewatches of this.
Okay.
It comes across as I get the feeling it's quite a personal film.
Yeah, very much so. I think even Ryan Coogler said that himself in an interview. Yeah.
The only thing I wish is that there was greater IMAX availability, because this was filmed using IMAX cameras.
Okay.
I did see it on the big screen. It was great on the big screen, but I did afterwards. I sat there thinking, man, I wish I could have seen that on the biggest screen. But
there have been people saying that during the climax of the movie, the aspect ratio kind of shifts from widescreen to IMAX format, or something like that. But when I watched it, I just watched it on a regular screen, so nothing changed. But it's still worthy of a watch in the cinema.
Yeah,
because
and I would say, speaking of that ending sequence, I would say that I remember thinking, "Oh, is that it?" And I remember actually feeling a bit disappointed. And then that final sequence comes up, and it just tied it all together for me beautifully.
It is interesting the way that they did that, though. But we can talk about that in spoilers. But for me, I think my rating would be a chatting pit. I don't think it's a full chatting pit for me, only because I think maybe my expectations were a little different. I went in already knowing that it was going to be a vampire movie. I also went in knowing that there was going to be other supernatural elements. And I also knew one of the... I guess it's not that big of a spoiler, but it did kind of ruin the movie a little bit for me, having seen it already online. And I just kind of thought, and maybe I was hoping for more because I heard that there was going to be more supernatural elements. I was like, oh, what is it going to be? Aliens? What's it going to be? But then, it played out, and it had a very satisfying ending in many ways. But yeah, that's all I will say. What about yourself?
Well, I would say it sounds like I had almost the opposite experience, because I saw the trailer. And I heard a few things that the typical from dusk till dawn, but good. I would give it a full chatting pitch for me, I think.
Really?
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, I loved it, and I would I'd have happily bought another ticket to watch the showing in 5 minutes time after I watched it. I loved that musical sequence. Again, I agree with you that the music does seem like another character. I also like, minor point, I also like how they took vampire lore, just to get married for a second, and they just simplified it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff where, okay, we take the original vampire stories and then we maybe do a little twist on them or we build on them. And eventually you get to iteration number 70 and suddenly vampires become complicated.
Yeah.
And what I liked was that there was a simplicity.
This vampire's shiny.
Yeah.
He glows in the dark.
These ones play baseball.
These ones breathe in space.
Go and pick up a bat. Oh, which bat do you mean? But I like that it was simple. Vampires don't like the sun. Vampires don't like being staked in the heart.
Yeah,
if a vampire bites you, you are a vampire. And there's nothing really more complicated than that.
It really is just the classic vampire tropes. Just played out. Don't put them in the sun.
But it's not about that. I think a lot of modern takes on the vampires focus on those tropes. It's actually, it's not about the tropes. It's about, okay, what story are you using vampires to tell?
Yeah. I mean,
what do they represent in your version? The same with any supernatural creature. What do they represent? The same way that when the first George Romero zombie film came out, it represented the mindlessness of capitalism, and that sort of just mindless shuffling crowds all going to the mall. And it's not about the zombies really; it's about what do they represent.
Yeah, and in this sense, I think from my gathering, it's like the what's his name, Jack O'Connell, his character, the vampires. Like he has Irish background, and he is an outsider trying to vamp his way in to the Duke.
That's how I vamp. I don't really know what vamping is.
What do they call the club? It's called the Duke Joint, is it? Or
the Duke Joint, yeah. The twins open.
So they all have their own...
It's lucky the twins are who they are, but yeah, go on.
Yeah. They've got their own kind of style of music. They're all playing blues, and then he's trying to come in with his Irish jigs and be like,
yes,
why can't we just all get along? But, there's an ulterior motive there. And, the vampire are essentially like a allegory for oppression, and the
taking of things that...
The taking of things. And
don't really belong to them. And
yeah. But anyway, what I was going to say. I guess we can talk about spoilers. We've done the rating.
Yeah.
I also wanted to point out that Delroy Lindo, the guy who played Delta Slim.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, what a phenomenal actor. Like I as soon as he came on the screen, I was like, is that who I think it is? Because I've seen him in multiple movies before, but it's been a while and he's aged since, and I wasn't sure if that was him or not. But as soon as he had that little moment where Michael B. Jordan's I can't remember which one was which one's Smoke and which one's Stack. Smoke goodness. One of them, we're in spoiler territory now. One of them turns into a vampire.
Spoilers. We're going to tell you which twin is which.
I do like the fact that, like, at first when I saw it, I was like, oh, one's red, one's blue. Okay, one's good, one's bad.
Yeah.
But then it actually helped me differentiate which one was which, because whenever they had a close-up, you can see, like, their collar was a little bit blue. The other one had, like, a gold in his tooth.
Okay.
Like, okay. But I think, isn't Smoke the bad one? Like, bad one? And
no. Smoke is the
blue one. So there's blue and there's red.
Yeah. Smoke is the one who does not become a vampire.
Okay, Smoke is the good, quote unquote, good one.
Yeah,
and then
I would say there's enough in Michael B. Jordan's performances that I could tell which one was which.
Oh yeah. I think in terms of if I saw him in a crowd of people, I was able to pick them out. Yeah. Based on their color codes, and obviously that was intentional. But I didn't really have too much of a hard time differentiating between the two, because it was different enough in terms of the characters and the way they spoke and the way they held themselves. It was good. But there was that moment where he was giving the beer bottle to Slim and trying to recruit him to be a part of the Duke Joint.
Yeah,
and then there was that it made me laugh. I don't know if it made anyone else laugh, but that cut of him saying like, "We've got loads more bottles of beer," and then suddenly crash cuts to him just playing music.
Yeah. They're doing a duet together.
Yeah.
He's really amazing in this.
Yeah. But yeah, I
Delroy Lindo. I mean, just Delroy because Lindo, he manages to be. Yeah, he has that heartbreaking moment where he talks about the person that he knew from back in the day who was mistaken for a murderer. Well, mistaken. Was just taken as a murderer and a thief, but he manages to be really funny as well, and very charismatic and very personable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite a heartbreaking ending as well.
Heartbreaking, yeah. Also, that moment where he drives past all of his friends who have turned into, prisoners or slaves back then, and what was it? Was it Sammy who asked like, "Oh, do you know them?"
Yeah. And he was like, "Which one do you know?"
He's like, all of them. All of them. Yeah, and that was really heartbreaking.
Anyway, let's ruin it with a pitch, shall we?
No. Well, there's a few more things I want to say. So Haley Steinfeld, is that her name? Yeah. She plays one of the very few white people in the movie, and she is one of, like, when they start opening up the club, like, she has this romantic history with Stack. Yeah, and it's kind of like alluded to be kind of forbidden love. He didn't want to be seen with her and all that. And then eventually she manages to get into the club, and she's like the only person who looks different amongst everybody else. But they all welcome her because she's kind of like a friend, a family in many ways. But then the bit that was ruined for me on Twitter was that she turns into a vampire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I saw a still image of her just with fangs and blood everywhere. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I know that. So the whole time I was watching, I was like, is she a vampire already? Or is she going to turn into a vampire?
Right. I could see how that would, ruin
so that kind of ruined it a little bit for me. I was like, oh,
yeah, because I've just looked up, just because we were trying to remember who was Smoke and who was Stack. And literally...
There's images of her as a vampire, right?
Literally, before I even need to scroll down, there's images of her as a vampire. I'm not even looking up her character. And there's an article, Everyone Who Dies in Sinners. And I'm just thinking, the movie's just come out.
Yeah.
So number one, like it happened to you, you're going to potentially spoil it for people who don't want it spoiled.
Right.
Number two, if you want to watch this movie... basically what I'm saying is, what's the point of the article?
Right.
If you've watched the movie, you know who dies, you know who becomes a vampire, you know who lives.
But you know that there's this thing with what's that term when they bring people in to watch a movie and then they ask them questions?
Focus groups.
Like focus groups, yeah. So they've done many focus groups, and most people want to know what happens in the movie. Which is strange to me, because that's why they always put everything in the trailer.
But people think they want to know.
Yeah.
Is it that?
Could be.
Because some of my best experiences in the cinema have come where I just know the title of the movie.
Yeah, but I think there's a certain type of person who wants to have the mystery box of a movie and not know anything about it. They don't even want to read the blurb. They don't even want to know the title sometimes. Right. I don't want to know who's in it.
One ticket for movie, please.
Surprise me. There should be a surprise me, right? They spin the wheel. I guess I'm watching Gruffalo today.
There's a wheel. I guess we're going to go watch Room on the Broom again. Come on, son.
Yeah. So, I do think that the focus groups tend to play a lot in terms of how a movie's marketed, and unfortunately, to our detriment, it does ruin it sometimes. But some people, they just don't watch trailers and they just go in and knowing, oh, there's a movie with Michael B. Jordan in it. I don't want to know about anything about this movie. I didn't know Delroy Lindo wasn't going to be in it. I didn't know.
I saw one trailer.
Yeah.
In the cinema before another movie, and that was it.
Yeah.
I avoided post, and this isn't me. This sounds like he's bragging about a really weird thing here, but I don't know why. Yeah, maybe it's just I don't see other people's points of view, right? And I don't understand it, but I don't understand why you would want those key things spoiled. Okay, sure, if you want to watch 2 or 3 trailers and you want to get more of an idea of a movie, or you want to know any surprise casting, okay, fine, but to have like some of the main, I don't get it.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the ending real quickly, because I've got some things that I want to say.
Yeah, sure. Are we talking about that final scene?
That final scene.
Which is quite nice. It's quite nice that Stack and I think her name is Mary are still together after all that time. Even though they're horrible vampires who kill people. It's quite sweet.
We don't know anything happened. So basically, there's a big time jump, isn't there? And then when the credits rolled, when it said directed by Ryan Coogler, it was just a very brief moment of the older version of Sammy playing an electric guitar, and it goes meow, and then directed by Ryan Coogler. I was like, oh, that's a strange ending. But then you get an epilogue. Yeah. Throughout the credits, you see him continue to play, and I don't know about you, but in my cinema, everyone was already walking out.
Really?
Yeah, everyone. Oof. And then when more scenes started coming out, people just started standing there watching the movie, like in the hallway. It was like, oh, I guess the movie's not over. So I always sit down.
Seats, guys.
I always sit down to make sure that there's nothing else after the credits.
Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, especially a film like this with such an awesome soundtrack.
Yeah.
I know it's ultimate movie nerd, but sometimes I like to sit there because I just think I'm never going to hear this music in like this quality with this beautiful surround sound again. So unless it's Wallace and Gromit, in which case I'll see it again next week.
What was it? So we get to the credits.
Sammy's got his own club. He's like a blues legend now.
Yeah, which apparently I had to look this up because I didn't think that old version of Sammy was a great actor, and I was like, he must be someone that I don't know. Turns out he was a guitarist called Buddy Guy, and he's like a legend in blues guitar. So they got him as like a sort of self-referential thing, where like they get an actual blues guitarist in. But then he's also joined by Stack and what was her name?
Mary, I think her name is Mary.
Mary, yeah. So
Haley Steinfeld's character, Mary.
They open the door and they're all in like full 90s get up.
Yeah, and it's that moment as soon as you hear the guy on the door say, "Come on in."
Yeah.
It's like, you just invited them in.
Right. And then you think, oh no, here comes trouble. His life's going to be over.
Do you think vampires have to get invited to any enclosed space?
Probably.
Like, hey, don't litter. And the vampire's like, well, I can't put it in the bin because it's an enclosed space. So you got to invite. Who's the owner of this bin? You need to write a letter to the council. The council you are invited to. And other enclosed spaces. Continue.
Yeah. Like the Sandwich Club. Home of club sandwiches.
Yeah. Or a fridge.
They'll do great in fridges, don't they? Because no sunlight, it's nice and cold, preserved the body.
Yeah.
You just gotta kind of like break your bones to get in.
Yeah, but apart from that, it's fine.
So why are they in here? So they end up having
they can't open a little thing of Play-Doh.
No.
Can't get into the Play-Doh.
They can't find the dinosaurs or the Easter egg hunts.
They can't break open the egg. That's why. That's why they hate Christians.
Anyone skipping forward to this part
because vampires
not realize that we're referencing something earlier on where we're lampooning on some of the antics that.
Well, what did I say? Don't skip to the end.
Don't skip to the end. Yeah,
watch the whole thing. Yeah, they just. I really want these chocolate eggs, but it's an enclosed space.
Yeah.
And Mr. Cadbury hasn't invited me in.
Do you think they? Do you think in this universe they like to sleep in coffins?
Nah.
No.
I think they'll go anywhere.
It's not this type of movie.
Going
that's
back another
to what
enclosed
happened.
space, isn't it? Oh, plot holes.
How many more
Top
enclosed
10 plot holes of all vampire stories.
All right, Matthew, we're running out of time.
Top 10 things you will need in your fallout shelter during the apocalypse.
Matthew, we still have time to...
The 5 secret weaknesses of the termite people. Continue.
Oh, no, please, go. I want to hear more. More enclosed spaces, please. You're trapping me in an enclosed space. This whole bit is an enclosed space for me.
We invite you to like and subscribe. There we go.
Stack and Mary, they meet up with old Sammy, and turns out, at first I thought they're here to kill him. Years later down the line, they finally found him. But it turns out there was a deal made between Smoke and Stack right before Smoke ultimately had his tragic ending after killing all of the Ku Klux Klan.
Yes. Including just annihilating their leader. Just
the leader. Yeah. He's like, "You want money? I got money."
It was like the sequence in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Where they've blown Hitler up, and then Eli Roth just pumps his body just full of bullets anyway. And there's that like horrible looking. It's almost like a clay Hitler.
Yeah.
It's just
his face just exploding. Yeah. That bit made me laugh. The turns out Michael B. Jordan, Smoke and Stack, they both had an agreement to not touch Sammy and just leave him alone.
Yeah.
And they did, and they fulfilled it. So that begs the question: are these good vampires or are they bad vampires?
See, yeah, I think that's why I really liked it, because it added that layer of complexity of just some of them are vampires, but like Remick, Jack O'Connell's character, clearly just a bloodthirsty, selfish maniac.
Yeah.
But just because you have that power doesn't necessarily mean you are driven to that or driven to those actions. Yeah. I suppose it's what they do with that power or what they've done in the intervening years. However long it's been, 50, 60 years, I reckon.
Well, I think they also had that the plot line where everybody who was bitten by Jack O'Connell's character kind of follows him as the ringleader. But because he was taken out, I guess that tie was severed.
Yeah, severed.
And then now they've just become their own thing, and they've become pop stars. They look like pop stars anyway.
They do.
Walk through.
I love his shirt.
It was great. Yeah. Classic 90s sweater. And he had that, I think he had a gold chain or something, and those funny like glasses.
Oh, the shades. Yeah.
Good look. And that's it, really. That's the movie. I liked enough of it to say it's like it's a decent movie.
Okay.
I think you loved it more than I did.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Only because I had other expectations, but if I had not had those expectations, maybe I would have been pleasantly surprised and enjoyed it more. But it's not to say the movie wasn't great. I think it was great. I just think I expected a little bit more, but that's just a product of my environment. It's a product of its time. Chatting Pitch has been brought to you by Leslie Way and Matthew D. Smith. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to listen to others and maybe even subscribe. You can follow us on the website, formerly known as Twitter.
Listen to us on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Leslie and Matthew have their own side hustles as well. Feel free to check out Leslie's YouTube channel or Matthew's Medium blog. Links in the description. If you want anything else, we might have other links in the description if we think of anything interesting to add. Thank you for listening. I love you.